Good evening, everybody. I don't have a presentation. I'm sitting on a chair, so a bit different from the rest. Um, when the organizers asked me to talk about payment and financial services, I was like, and they asked me whether I have a PowerPoint or not. I was like, do I want to show a PowerPoint that I've done for the last 15 years selling MOL, or should I share a bit on what actually it takes to build a payment company and financial services company? And what exactly is payment and financial services? What is a payment system? Today I had lunch, not actually lunch, it was coffee earlier with some bankers. And they themselves find it very difficult to understand what a payment system is, how a payment system is, how does it operate. So what I did this morning was I actually went on Google and I checked what actually is payment systems, what actually is financial services. What I found is a financial service is a service that enables two parties to exchange funds. In other words, it is a system that enables me to exchange to you buyers to sellers or lenders to borrowers like Compare Asia. And then there's also a new buzzword today in terms of industries that people are talking about, FinTech or financial technology. And I actually thought today was a panel. And I know that FinTech is a new buzzword that's been coming up because PayPal has been spinned off from eBay. Square is doing its IPO today. And I believe that FinTech will be the next buzzword or next industry that will grow and that will become a hot industry just like the shared economy is today. So what is FinTech? Financial technology are systems that make it better for two parties to exchange funds. In short, financial technologies are financial systems that operate better. And what are payment systems? Payment systems are financial technology that actually allow give buyers and sellers a better way to exchange funds. So, in essence, payments is the infrastructure. It's like highways. If you equate it to us in everyday life today, your e-commerce mall is your mall, and the highway or the roads that lead to the e-commerce mall are your payment systems. They bring you to the mall, they allow you to buy items, and they allow you to pay cash. And that essentially is what payment systems are. They allow you to go to the malls, such as Lazada, Zalora, and pay cash to the malls. Now, another confusion in the payment industry is that, how are you going to compare with PayPal? The number one question I'm asked every day is, MOL, you're like PayPal, but why are you better than PayPal? How are you going to compete with PayPal? Right? PayPal accepts credit cards. Do you accept credit cards as well? What makes you different? And I have to go through the whole thing. I'm different because I accept cash payments where you can pay in 7-Eleven. MOL Pay is different because we handle fraud, we pay you in ringgit locally, we have online banks, etc. And then the next question, a very popular question today that has come up is, Apple has came up with Apple Pay. How are you going to compete with Apple Pay? How are you going to compete with Android Pay? Right? Just because there's a pay, everything that the next pay, Apple Pay or Android Pay, is going to beat the other payment guy or beat the local payment guy. The truth is, because it's the infrastructure, whatever new payment system that comes out is not necessarily going to beat out the next payment system, but actually most probably is going to complement the next payment system. You have roads leading to a mall, right? So if there are different roads leading to different places, your house in different place, the different roads that you take to lead to the mall actually complement the different roads that you take, right? So it's actually because the infrastructure, there's nobody that's going to displace the next guy or going to be the winner takes all. I mean, the internet we know for social, Facebook has taken all, Friendster has died, Orkut has died, every other social network has died, Facebook has taken all. But the fact is, in payment system, there is no winner takes all. PayPal is not going to be the winner of everything. Apple Pay is not going to be a winner for everything. In fact, chances are they'll actually be complementing each other because, for example, if you can use Apple Pay, if you can use your PayPal account on your mobile phone and make use of it to actually make a mobile payment, it actually complements, and highly likely that's what's going to happen. So payments is all about connecting the infrastructure. It's about linking the infrastructures and making it easier to the consumer. And if you're building a payment system or you're building a financial services company, the priority is always making it convenient for the consumer to exchange funds. And as long as you look at that and you focus on your consumer, you will win. You know, I watch Bloomberg West every morning. Are you guys familiar with Bloomberg West? So Bloomberg West is a Bloomberg program based in San Francisco that talks about tech. I think it's a 1 hour or 30-minute talk every morning. And they kind of bring up the hottest technology news every day. And I think last week it was the CEO of Salesforce.com that actually was speaking on Bloomberg West. And he made a statement that hit me. And although it's not really related to payment systems, I just want to bring it up today. He says he's getting very worried about the startup space today and the startup industry today because people are focusing more on valuations as compared to the customer. So if you're building a startup, you're building a payment system, you're building a financial services, your focus should be on the consumer. If you make it valuable for the consumer, you make it more convenient to the consumer, you make your payment system more convenient to the consumer, then, and you bring enough value, you'll be successful. It doesn't matter what your market cap or valuation is. It is ultimately, it's the consumer that gives you money, it's your consumer that gives you revenue, it's your consumer that gives you profit, and it's all of that gives your valuation or that makes you valuable. Now, so in payments, essentially, nobody is, just give me a second. Nobody is real competition. Everybody can be your friend. And the winner in the payment space is those that can make everybody your friend and nobody your enemy. Now, let me talk a bit about the history of MOL. I started about 15 years ago. About the same time, actually, Mr. Chan down there also started. We started about the same time. And what we used to do was we used to help telcos basically collect payments for their mobile top-ups, right? So at that time, if you want to actually pay for a mobile top-up, you actually use a physical prepaid card, right? So you go to a 7-Eleven, for example, you buy a physical prepaid card and you key that in to pay for your mobile top-ups. Now, at that time, everything was physical, and we thought, electronic could be a method where people will pay. So that's why Mr. Chan started Mobile 88, which was a precursor to iPay 88. And MOL started its reload system, MOL Reloads. And we essentially helped 7-Eleven and cyber cafes to collect reloads or to pay for their mobile reloads. So who was the seller at that time? Buyer and seller. The sellers were essentially the mobile top-ups, and the buyers at that time were cyber cafe consumers and 7-Eleven consumers for us. And that's how I started my road into the payment industry or payment system industry, similar to where Mr. Chan came from as well. However, a couple of years later, I remember Mr. Chan and I were having drinks, am I right, Mr. Chan? And he said, you know what, you should help e-commerce companies collect payments. I said, yeah, I'll think about that. Instead, what I did was I went to a cyber cafe and I realized that there were a lot of consumers in the cyber cafe that was playing online games, right? And so what we did was we decided that, you know what, maybe providing a payment system for games would be something that, we could use our infrastructure of cyber cafes too. And at that time, there was this hugely popular Korean game called Hellbreath, right? And Hellbreath has, if you go to a cyber cafe, almost everybody in the cyber cafe was playing games. And at that time, most people actually access the internet through cyber cafes. So essentially, a lot of people, almost everybody accessing the internet in Malaysia was playing this game, Hellbreath. And true enough, the Korean developer or publisher of this game actually wanted to start charging their consumers. They actually wanted to collect payments from consumers. So we actually went to the Korean developer and said, hey, Symantec, who was the developer of Hellbreath, hey, can we help you collect payments in Southeast Asia or in Malaysia at that time? And they said, sure, but you know what? we need somebody to host and operate it in Southeast Asia. So we say, okay, why not you make us the exclusive partner? We'll help you collect payments and we'll also help you market it. So they say, okay. And that was the point when MOL Points, which is our payment system for online games, started being successful. The day Hellbreath actually started charging consumers, I think our payment volume went up by 100 times. Just one merchant. So one game, one merchant made MOL Points suddenly, the volume suddenly increased by 100 times in one day. And that's the beauty about payment systems. If you get the right merchant and you hit the right knock on the door, you get the right volume, you hit the right industry, you will grow like nobody's business. It's extremely scalable because it's the infrastructure. You just have to find the right road, you just have to find the right mall and the consumers and link the consumers to the mall. Right? So that's how essentially we help grow. We started growing through MOL Points. And today MOL Points from that one game, I think it was in 2003, we facilitate payments for over 6,000 games from over, I think it was a couple of hundred game publishers from all over the world. We help Zynga collect payments through Southeast Asia. We help Facebook collect payments. We help Spotify collect payments. So anybody in the digital game industry that wants to collect payments across Southeast Asia, and for that matter, emerging markets, we're in Turkey, we're in Brazil, actually use us for payments. But it all started from that one game in Malaysia. Right? So you need to get the right merchant, hit the right door, and start getting traction and grow your infrastructure. Now, the next thing that happened a couple of years ago, and then Mr. Chan went ahead to realize his idea of setting up a payment system to accept credit cards for e-commerce companies. And that's how IP88 was born. Now, a couple of years ago, we realized that e-commerce payments or e-commerce was starting to grow. From gaming starting to grow, e-commerce was starting to grow. Now, we first started from gaming because we realized also that e-commerce had challenges. There was no logistic infrastructure, there was no fulfillment infrastructure. So what we did was we started from gaming. But in the year 2010, we realized that, hey, e-commerce payments were also growing. So what we did then was we actually set up MOL Pay. We acquired actually one of Mr. Chan's competitors that later became MOL Pay. We acquired it and we made it MOL Pay. And then we linked them to all our physical channels. So that what that enables today is you can actually buy a product online and pay cash in 7-Eleven. And today that's actually one of the fastest growing parts of our business. Still a bit small, but it's one of the fastest growing parts of our business. So then what happened was a couple of years ago, we realized that e-commerce alone was not going to be the future. There would be a new generation of payment services coming in. And this is where people not only buy goods online, but also buy human resource services online, or buy other real-life services online. There was no Grab taxi at that time, but we realized it was coming. So we realized that people also would use their mobile phone, for example, to actually use that to pay for real-world payment services. For example, you pay for your taxi, you pay for your... Today there are so many services, right? Almost everything through the sharing economy you can pay using your mobile phone. So we started conceptualizing and developing a product called MOL Wallet. Now what MOL Wallet is, and we've recently got regulatory approval for MOL Wallet and we'll be launching it soon. What MOL Wallet is essentially is you can actually top up into your wallet or tokenize your credit card into your wallet or pay at 7-Eleven to top up your wallet and get the amount you pay into the wallet in your mobile phone and then use that mobile phone to buy a variety of services, whether it's our games, whether it's e-commerce, but also to use that for the new generation mobile services. For example, if you are, for example, a service that enables people to send food to the home, right? You can actually buy a product online and pay for it using the mobile phone. Now, a unique part of this wallet is you can actually transfer money from person to person. So you can transfer money from A to B. And then the person that you transfer to can actually withdraw cash from any ATM machine anywhere in the world without an ATM card. Right? So what this enables is, if you're starting a new mobile service, for example, like Uber, but not for taxis, for example, and you want to pay a cab driver, right? You can transfer money from your mobile phone to the cab driver's mobile phone, right? And if Uber wants to take a cut for it, or Grab Taxi wants to take a cut for it, we will actually pay the cut to Grab Taxi or Uber, right? So we actually then enable the next generation of mobile services to create a revenue model. And payments is all about enabling and creating revenue models, right? So we enable the next generation payment services to actually create new revenue and payment models, right? So that's a bit on the evolution, and we call that MOL wallet. So that's a bit on the evolution, how MOL actually has grown over the last over the last 15 years. Actually, I founded the company and built it over 15 years. Now, so what are the takeaways from today? Now, if you intend to start a new payment service or a new financial service, you got to look at what you can do to link two parties. The parties can either, one side of the party is definitely the consumer. The second part is, of course, the seller, right? Or who is providing the service. So you got to find that niche, that either that two parties basically that you can connect, right? And the key to that is either nobody is providing that service. If nobody is providing the service and you provide that service, then that's a viable proposition. Now, so that's where you actually provide a service to new industries like the sharing economy as we talk. Now, the next area is where there is currently a highway that links these two parties, but the highway is too long, it's too problematic, it takes too long, it's too bumpy. Then what you should do is you should then create a new road that makes it easier, faster. Customer, you won't go wrong. The customer is king. Thank you.